all, it's Elisa from Photobox Designs. I'm here today to show you how to make one of those trending cardboard box inside the box photo collages. So here we go. And this will be done in Canva. So Canva is a great tool. The first thing you want to do is open it up and go to create a design. You can choose all kinds of different ones. I'm using an educational platform, but you may be in Canva Pro or Canva free, so it may look different for you. I'm just going to go to custom design, and I'm going to design this one. I like to go with inches. You could do it with pixels. I'm going to do it at, like, let's just say 15 by 15 inches. We're going to make a square. And press create new design. And so what we're going to want to do is, because we're adding in photos that are a cardboard box looking, I'm going to go into my elements over here. I'm going to search elements, and I'm going to search up cardboard. And there are plenty of cardboard boxes that you can look at. Find the one that you like the best. Can look here. Sometimes I prefer this one. Sometimes I prefer this one. I'll just go with this one for now. I'm going to go to these three little dots here, and I'm going to select Save Image as Background. This will give me my background of my photos. If the color doesn't match perfectly, I will adjust that later once I bring my photos in. So now, next thing I'm going to do is go to Uploads, and I already have some photos in here that I'm going to use, but I'm going to just show you quickly how you upload. So you just click Upload Files, and then you can go to your wherever it is that you get your photos. Usually my photos, because I took them in my iPhone, they'll be located here in the Photos app, and you will go into the photos. This directly syncs with my phone. So and you can go and you can find the photos that you want, and you can just upload pictures like such. All right, and once you've uploaded your photos, but I do want to say that I will often crop my photos in my phone before I upload them to Canva. I do that mostly because it's just easier if my photo is a perfect square or a rectangle and I don't need any kind of warping. I do that because it's just easier, and then I select out the photos that I've already cropped, and then I'm able to just kind of pop them into the Canva template. But sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go back and I'll pick other pictures and they aren't cropped, and that's fine too. So I'm going to pick a couple of photos here. I'll show you one that I've already cropped and one that I haven't. These are all squares. I'm just going to pop a couple of them in here. Here's one. This is from a little photo shoot I did with friends, my best friend's family, and they were so kind to let me borrow them. We had so much fun. So I'm going to just pop in some pictures. Now, one of the downfalls I want to tell you is that if you know me, if you're part of my Facebook group inside the Photo Box, Photography and Photoshop, we've been doing photo boxes before this DIY trend started about 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago already. And we usually shoot inside a white box. I even shot in a cardboard box a couple of years ago, and I have video of it. This year, it has taken off on TikTok and Instagram, and it is very much so DIY. And so you may be listening to this tutorial or watching this tutorial, and you're not a photographer, and that's totally fine. That's the whole point of it. But one of the benefits of using Photoshop over Canva is that there are more tools if you don't get your box perfectly square. So there are things like warping tools that I love, and you don't really have that access to it here in Canva. So if you look at this photo here, this bugs me a little bit because it wasn't like a perfectly square photo, and I can't really warp it in the same way. But this is DIY. We're going for some fun. We're not going for perfection. And this little part right there, if I was in Photoshop, I would warp this photo. I would grab this edge and pull it out so that this box was completely aligned. There's lots of other tools that you can do in Photoshop. But like I said, this is more of the DIY, and we're not looking for absolute perfection. So I've got two pictures here. Let's see. I'm going to pick one here that is not cropped yet, and it is a little wonky, and it has an overhang, and I'm picking that on purpose. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to actually just crop it up, but I'm not going to crop it all the way to the edge of the box. I'm going to just go to this right there. I'm going to turn it a little bit. Let's see. here. I'm gonna just sort of turn my box a little so I get it more square and just bring it up, you know, and if it cut off the edge of the box, it's fine. Now I'm making it more of a square box and I can keep turning it and there we go. There we go. And, but leave that here. So now you've really just kind of cut off some of the edges and it's still fine. And the next thing I'm going to do is bring in one more picture. Actually, I think this picture was a little bit too high for this. I think I had another one I liked better. Yes, this one. This is another one that is also not cropped, so I'm just going to crop it now. Like I said, you can do it either way. It's really not a big deal to crop it. If I'm doing it on my phone, which by the way, you can absolutely do this in your phone or your iPad, you know, it's a little bit more tedious and the cropping is a little more tedious, and that's why I like to crop it in my iPhone. But when you're working with a computer, you have so much, I find it to be so much easier to do anything in a computer when it comes to editing. But for convenience, we do a lot in our phones these days. So I'm just going to sort of make this guy into a square here as much as possible, and I just kind of rotate it a little bit to make it straighter. Okay, so my image here is going to be 1, 2, 3. He's looking up, so I want him to be on the bottom. 3, 4. I'm going to now pull this out so that they are aligned with each other. Truthfully, I could just go like this, bring that down, and that kind of crops out that issue that I've had. And now I have 4, you know, it actually, that worked fine. And so I'm going to make sure this picture matches this picture. And usually Canva's really good about like showing you if you're like pretty much, you see how there's a purple line that kind of comes, it shows you where your alignment is. I really like that. It does make it much easier. And I'm just going to align the bottom of this picture together and kind of make it smaller so that that the right side aligns with this right side, so that I know that when I crop this picture, which I will, it's going to be the same size. So when we shot this picture, we did it purposely. He was holding this champagne bottle, and when I took the photograph, I marked where his champagne bottle was at the bottom of the box, so that when she went in there and she was holding up her glass, I had her kind of hold up her glass so that it would be in the same spot but above. So the marking for the bottle was on the bottom of the box, and then when she went in, we marked the top of the box directly above where the bottom of the box marking was for her glass. So that way we can align it together in Photoshop. No, sorry, in Canva. We're working in Canva today. All right, so now this is this is really good. There's one more piece I'm going to show you here, which is how to get this cutout to work. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight one of the photos. I'm going to press down the Shift button, and I'm going to click on all my boxes. All right, or there's another little, and I'm going to group them like that. So now that they're all moving in together in one group, I'm going to ungroup them and show you another little trick. So if you click on one button and then you press Command A, I'm on a Mac, it might be Control A on a PC, and then it does the same thing. But that will select everything on your canvas, and there are times you don't want to select everything. Let me show you one more thing. Sometimes you will want to change your layers around. So you see how this layer is under this layer, but you want to see where all the layers are. So you click on a box, and you go to More, and you go to Layers, and then you can do this. You can bring your layer forward, such as like that, or you can see where you can always go bring it backwards, bring it to the back. You can also go to this little handy Show Layers. This is probably one of the most important features that a lot of people don't know about, and this is your Layers panel, very similar to Photoshop. And this Layers panel, what you can do is you can move your layers around, and this is really important. So you could see that this is the top layer in the entire project. Let's say you want to drag it under. Now you're dragging it underneath. So now this layer, which is highlighted over here, is the top layer. It's on top of everything. There is nothing on top of it. Then this is the next layer, then this one, then this one. There'll be times when you need to click on a layer and you can't get to it because in the Layers panel, it is on the bottom and it's being covered by bigger items. And I used to find that very frustrating until I discovered where this layers panel is. So if you're watching this tutorial and you never do a box photo shoot, but you want to learn more about Canva, this is probably one of the best tips I could give you is the layers panel. So, all right, going back to this photo, what I want to do is I'm clicking on it. This is the one with the lady with the, so she has the wine glass, and I'm going to click this thing called duplicate. And now I've duplicated this photo, right? You can see where it is in my layers panel. It's on the very top. It's above everything, which is fine, which is where I want it. And then I'm going to go to background remover. And this is a disclaimer. This feature is only available to you if you have Canva Pro. If you do not have Canva Pro, I do not think that this is a feature that you can do, but there are free background remover websites that you can Google. Just Google in, remove background, and then you could take your photo before you bring it into Canva. You can go to one of those free sites, remove the background first, and then bring it back into Canva, and then use that photo. But you will also want, of course, the photo that has the background, because what we're doing is we're taking the one with the background and we're going to remove that background so that way, and hopefully this works. I haven't tested this one out. You can see now that the glass now looks like it is hanging over the other box because I've removed out the background. Actually, it didn't do a good job. Let's see. I'm going to bring this one back up. Bring that one forward. Yes, it did. It's just that my glass has a little bit of the black shadow behind it from the wall, so which is fine. So I'm actually going to go to step backwards and step backwards. So now you can see that this glass, this box is underneath, and then the top. See, okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. I want to go to this top layer in the layer panel, which is the one I cut out, and I want to make sure that it is directly on top of the layer. So this layer is now directly on top of this layer. I'm actually going to drag this one up just so you can see. Whoops. So these two layers now are now, actually no, I got to bring, yeah. So this one is directly on top of the other one. Now I'm going to make sure I'm on the layer that's that the background is still there. And I'm going to now crop that layer down to the edge of the box because we don't care if the wine glass is showing or not anymore. We don't need it to show. I'm going to, and now whatever you do, if you move these pictures around, you have to always remember to move the the one with the background. You have to move that with it. Sometimes, to be honest with you, I do that as the very last step. I don't know why I'm not doing it that way, but hopefully this will make sense. So this photo, I've now cropped it. I'm just going to twist it a little bit and make sure that it fits in here. Okay. Twisting it, just making it look pretty good. You can actually leave some space between your pictures if you want to also, and give it like that look that has like a template feel to it. That's like entirely up to you. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. And then you sort of start to adjust the pictures. I'm just moving this little, the one with the background that I pulled out, just moving it around. It's just for the sake of just working on the things that are here first. And all I'm doing is kind of cropping in so that my edges align with each other. Sometimes I'll just pull from the side, sometimes I pull from the angles to make them smaller. And then I'm going to take this photo and place it back on top, and I'm going to have to twist this one now because it was the one that was cropped out. And so now that one's aligned. The alignment isn't absolutely perfect, obviously. The photo of his bottle and her glass are not perfect, but it's cute enough, right? And then I'm going to press Command A, and I'm selecting them all and I'm grouping them together, and I'm going to just stretch it out here a little bit. Okay, so that it gives it the look that I am interested in having. So I'm just going to kind of like leave a little cardboard border around the edges. You can see, it's hard to tell with this one, but as I move everything around, you can see that there is a like a purple line that's going perpendicularly and horizontally down and across. That's letting me know I'm perfectly centered, which is wonderful. The background, I'm clicking on the background, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit the background. That's that cardboard box. I'm just going to play around with adjusting the color temperature because I think that it needs to be like a little bit more orange to match the actual box that um, the people are in. So I'm just playing around with color temperature. Maybe I'll play around with tint a little bit so that it gives it more of like that realistic look that they're inside, like a slotted box. And that's really it. That's your whole shebang. So then when you're done with that, you would go to share. And one of the most important things is if you're going to print this, something really super important is that when you go to share and you go to download, you're going to check your size. You can download as a PNG or a JPEG. Both of those are good for sharing, they're good for printing. Um, if you're using the free version of Canva, printing, they don't give you the option to download it with extremely high resolution. So printing it, you may end up with some fuzzy pictures for the printing. But you can always download it at the highest resolution that they allow you to. And then you can always go to a website where you can upsize your photo so you have more resolution, more pixels. But here I would take this and I would bring this up. So if I'm going to print it, I would bring it up to the highest resolution possible, so that I would hope that my printing will be clear, and that the resolution is high enough for printing. There are websites that you can Google as well, and I'm going to put a link to some websites in the comments here that you can go to for upsizing your photos and also for checking the resolution of your photos. Both of those websites would be very useful for you if you're not a Canva Pro user. Okay, so that's really it. One other thing that I didn't mention that could be fun is you have, an option of using elements. And when you're using your elements, you can basically do so much. You can add so much to this. When you're in elements, you'll see you have graphics, you have AI image generators, you have stickers, you have photos. So like, let's say you wanted to, you can also add text to this too, right? So let's say you wanted to add like some snow falling and make this more of a movie, right? Oh, I should go like this. So I would go here and I can go to graphics, and you can see if the graphics are moving, then you know it's like an animated graphic. And maybe you want to put a little bit of snowfall. So we can put this one right here, and then you can turn this into more of a video. And so you want to have some more snow than just that. You can duplicate the snow and move it around. All right, so that could be like a fun little addition to your to your project. And you can also add in text. Maybe you want to add in like Merry Christmas, and if you wanted to make this into a holiday card, you could have sized this as a 5x7, which would have been great. I'm just going to make this text bigger. I don't know why my text is always so teeny tiny, but it is. So, and you can write Merry Christmas, and maybe you want to change the color. So maybe you want to make it white, or you want to make it bold, or you want to go into effects here, and you can change up the effects of yours, and you can even animate it if you were making it into something that you were going to post. You can go into different animations for your text. So all of that is really fun. And that is all. That's my whole tutorial. So if you're interested in learning more, you can you can check out our Etsy store. We have lots and lots of templates that you can use to edit not just box photography, but also portrait photography, regular photography. I have a YouTube website with more tutorials, and you can find me I've been posting a lot of tutorials lately on TikTok, and Instagram, and all the links will be in the comments. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.